Hello and welcome to a special edition of my podcast. This is a podcast called Latics Heroes, Meet the Fundraising Stars of Wigan Athletic. So far through the administration crisis, the fans have all rallied together. I've never seen anything like it. Usually in an administration, fans argue with each other, they blame everyone, and the fans have really stuck together. And through the Supporters Club crowdfunding, we've raised over £170,000. And a big person who's been raising money is Stuart Alker, who's kindly joined me on the podcast today. He's been doing a 10k a day for as long as it takes to help raise money for our football club, and he's raised over £2,480 so far. So first and foremost, I'd like to say what a tremendous effort. I've never run 10k in my life, let alone 14 of them in the space of 14 days. It's absolutely bonkers to even say it, to be honest. And I'd just like to know, obviously, how's it been? How did you come up with the idea, and why are you putting your body through absolute hell?
Good question. How are you, by the way? It was to do with during lockdown, I was trying to keep fit. Obviously, the gyms were closed. They still are closed until the weekend. And I usually get about 3 runs in a week in a gym. So obviously with no gyms, and I thought I don't want to be stuck in the house for 3 months or whatever it is. So I was doing about 3 10Ks a week, just road running during lockdown. And so it was really benefiting me from a health and fitness point of view, stopping me from being inside and mind ticking over on all negative stuff, which is something that I'm quite I find quite important, to make sure that you exercise and keep on top of stuff like that. So obviously when this administration came around, I wanted to try and promote the fact that obviously the fundraising is there, the crowdfunding, because I think when the Supporters Club set that up, it hit its target in 24 hours, 100k, its initial target that is. And I just wanted to do something to make people aware that it still had to go on, even though it had reached its first target. So I just thought, well, why not carry on what I was doing in lockdown and do a 10k, push the boundaries, instead of doing sort of one every other day, do one a day. And so far so good, touch wood.
Obviously you've done 10k a day. How's it like to actually prepare for something like that? Because 10k is probably around 6 miles for any non-runners, and that is absolutely tremendous, because you don't realise how much running impacts your body on a physical level, and I'm glad you kind of used a way to use your exercise mechanism as a fundraising tool to help save the club we all love so much.
Yeah. In terms of the body and preparing, it's just something that like I say, I'm semi used to it anyway, because I was doing 30 to 40k a week. But yeah, it's 6.25 miles, 10k, so it's a long distance. So I think I've worked out I've done 93 miles so far since I started doing this crowdfunding effort. But I've done it as much to keep awareness going that the crowdfunding is carrying on beyond that 100k target that we got on the day we played Brentford. And I've set a quite ambitious target of 10k in terms of money for running 10k a day, which is probably a bit too ambitious, really. I probably won't get that far. I'm a quarter of the way there in 2 weeks, which is good going, I suppose. But you probably see my tweets, Jay, when I'm putting them on there. I'm saying to people, please share these tweets. If you can't donate, please share, just to raise awareness, because I just didn't want people to stop doing the crowdfunding effort once that 100k target was hit. And it's not just myself. I know you're going to have some more people on your podcast in future of all the other people that have been doing the crowdfunding as well. I just wanted to just keep it going, because obviously it's important for the club that the cash keeps coming in and that we don't have to sell players. And the really great thing is that I bumped into Caroline from the Supporters Club actually recently, and she was saying that she's actually going in regularly to see the administrator and to see Jonathan Jackson, who's unbelievably working for free, because he's been obviously made redundant as part of the administration. And she's actually going in with the crowdfunding money in effect and saying, oh, we'll pay that bill, we'll pay this bill, what other bills do you want us to pay? And it's going directly to fund footballing costs rather than the administrator's fees, or it's not going down the drain. It's all 100% going to pay bills that keep the club going to the end of the season, which is obviously this week, and then we can look beyond that. But I just think it's absolutely vital that this crowdfunding effort keeps going, and literally every 5 or every 10 that people put in is a massive help to the club. And we just got to keep it going, and I'm going to keep running as long as my body allows me. But hopefully until we get to the point where we don't need crowdfunding anymore.
Is that the point where you're going to stop running once the crowdfunding is no longer needed and Wigan are in safe hands with a new buyer?
Yeah, pretty much. My body might tell me otherwise. My body might suddenly in the next 2-3 days, I don't know, it might just tell me, you've got to stop now. So I'll take it a day at a time. But my body's absolutely fine at the minute. So people done far worse things than 10k a day. I think Eddie Izzard did a marathon a day for, I don't know how many days he did it for, but he did a marathon a day, didn't he?
Yeah, I think he agrees something like a marathon. He's going to run a marathon for every Wigan win. And I don't know if that's the same person, but I've definitely seen one fan do that, and that is unbelievable, especially with the form we've been on at the moment. We've been unbelievable, to say the least. And in the final note, I want to say is not only I'd like to express my gratitude to yourself. You've done yourself proud, you've done your family proud, and the club proud. But I want to know, how much does Wigan mean to you? What is Wigan Athletic to you, and why is it so special?
Well, I think it's one of them things that you don't actually realise. I heard you mention before to Emerson Boyce in your podcast you did with Emerson Boyce in the last 24 hours that you almost can take a football club for granted when it's just there all the time, and people do use the football club as a get away from the normal life and a bit of a release from the stresses of everyday life, which is what most people do. But obviously, when something like this comes along, you actually realise that it's something you can't be without, and if it was taken away from you, then or the threat of being taken away from you, you would do absolutely anything to make sure that wasn't the case and to stop that from happening. And I've had the last couple of years has been a bit difficult for me. I've not been going to as many games. I've probably gone to about 2/3 of them, but I've had other priorities, both in terms of time and in terms of financial priorities. Kind of almost feel a little bit guilty about the fact I've not been going to every single match, which I used to do. But it's time, at times like that, you just think, does it really mean that much to me? And in the summer, sometimes you think, I can't be bothered with the stress anymore, so I'm glad the summer's here and just have a bit of a break from football, because it's an emotional roller coaster. But when something like this hangs over you, you just realise it means the absolute world to you, and that you'll literally stop at nothing and run through brick walls for your football club. And like you said before, every single Wigan fan has really pulled together and been positive through this administration, whereas, as you say, you look at other clubs when they've been in this situation, and there's backbiting and there's protests and stuff like that. And even Paul Stanley said on your podcast on Friday, didn't he, that he's had nothing but good comments and support from the fans. And that's what this club's all about, really. Everyone knows this isn't an administration caused by the fans or caused by anyone at the club at all. And everyone's just pulling together and rallying around. So, like I say, it's just one of them things that I want to do my absolute all, if not just raising money, just raising awareness that we've got to keep raising money, just to make sure that we don't have to sell players, etc. So, it's just one of them things that I just felt like I couldn't sit around and do nothing. I had to get involved and do something. And even if I just play a very small part in that, then that's what I'm going to do.
Absolute credit to yourself. On my final question is there any way fans can donate and obviously keep track on your progress?
Yeah, social media, Twitter the best way, I think, at Stuart Olker. I always put my tweet on there every day with my map of my run and a picture of me doing the run for my sins. And I always put my crowdfunding link on there. It's in my bio on my Twitter page at the minute. And that crowdfunding link is basically one, it comes off the supporters club one. So after that Brentford game, I saw them tweet saying you can create your own crowdfunding pot, and that still applies. Anyone can do that. Whatever goes into my crowdfunding effectively gets tipped into the main supporters club one. So of that 170k that's in there at the minute, 2.5 is what's been tipped in out of mine, if you get me. So that's the way it works. So people want to do a garage sale or a car boot sale this weekend or something like that, then they can create one off that and set up their own as well. So social media at Stuart Olker, and that's the way to find me.
Absolutely outstanding, and I'd like to thank you for being a guest on the podcast today. You are one of the Latics heroes of the community, and it's been amazing to see your efforts on social media, and keep up the good work, and let's just hope your body allows you to do as many runs as you can.
Yeah, thank you, Jake. Touch wood.
So in the next part of the Latics Heroes, meet the fundraising stars of Wigan Athletic. I'm joined by a little mini celebrity, Jacob Benbow. He's just 6 years old. He finished year one the other day, and he actually did a garage sale selling his belongings to help save Wigan Athletic, raising over £400. So I'm joined with Jacob and his mum, Emma. How great is it to have a son like Jacob doing his best at just 6 years old to save this football club?
Yeah, I mean, oh God, we're just, the whole family's just so incredibly proud of him. We do loads of fundraising for the school and things like that. So it's nice to know that he's kind of, picked up on that, need to help people where we can. He's got that. And, we're all Wigan Athletic mad in the house, in the family. So when I was telling him that Wigan were in a bit of trouble, straight away he wanted to do something to help. So we all helped you, didn't we, Jacob, to set up the sale? Yeah. And sorry.
What sort of things were you selling in the garage sale? For people who don't know.
What were you selling?
My toys.
Wow. It must have been such a big decision for you to sell your toys to help save the football club. Wow. It's so amazing. How long have you been a Wigan fan for, Jacob?
All my life.
All your life. Who's your favourite player?
Michael Jacobs.
Michael Jacobs. Who's your second favourite player? Ooh.
Right, second best. That's a tough question, isn't it? Morsey's quite good. You like?
Morsey.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good choice. He's my favourite.
I love Morsey.
How much do you love the football club? A lot. Jacob, it's amazing, really, for someone who's you're only 6 years old. You're so young, and to have such a selfless mindset to sell your own belongings for the football club. It's so amazing. And as Emma said, the family must be so proud. And Emma, how's the last week been for you? I know Jacob's been on TV. I've seen him on the CBC news rounds, so it must have been amazing for the family.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't expected. It's not why we did it. Obviously, the whole heart behind it was support for the club and support for, all the things that they're facing at the moment. But, as a mum, it's really lovely that, people have spotted his story and shared it. Great for the club, that they could talk about everything going on some more. But, he's a little superstar. He's just my best guy. So, the fact that other people see that as well, it can't help make you proud, can it? So,
yeah. They always say a child is a parent's pride and joy, and Jacob's proved to be that over the last few weeks. And I also heard you got a shout out on the Latics commentary too.
We did, yeah. I think a few people had tagged him with the commentators and online and things like that. So before one of the games, Jacob got a shout out, and he's had a couple of shout outs on the radio as well. So it was a little bit crazy, really, because we're not really used to anything like that. But you were excited to hear your name, weren't you? Yes. Yeah.
Jacob's a little bit kind of shy, yeah. He's doing his best, so he's probably not used to the spotlight just yet, but I'm sure with kind gestures like this, we'll be seeing him a lot more in the future. So obviously, my final note is, and my final question is, this might be a little bit later, but will Wigan be staying up?
Are Wigan going to be staying up, Jacob? Are they going to win tomorrow? Yeah. What was your prediction? What do you think the score's going to be?
8-0 to them.
8-0 again. If we got another 8-0, everybody would be the happiest thing ever been if we got another 8-0.
Yeah, if it's another 8-0, Jacob could pick all my lottery numbers for the next 5 years. Definitely. But I'd just like to say a massive thank you to yourself and Jacob for not only being on the podcast, but for helping with the crowdfunding appeal. The Latics fans, young, old, have all come together to raise over £170,000 to help save this football club. And we need to keep going to raise more, and I'm hoping that people can be inspired by Jacob's story. I know I am, and I know a lot of people have been touched by it.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's just done amazing. It just goes to prove what a community club Wigan is. Everybody's just come together at the time of need and given, even during the pandemic when money's perhaps a little tight. People have still been so generous, and not just for Jacob's appeal, but for everything people are doing, all the drives that people are doing to bring money in for it. So, I think I speak on behalf of all of Wigan supporters when we just say thank you to everybody for your generosity and your support.
Absolutely, and a massive props goes to yourself. You are one of Latics heroes at this time, and you'll be remembered for a very long time for the gesture you've done. So thank you very much for that.
No problem. It's this cheeky fella. It's this cheeky fella, isn't it?
Yeah, he's been outstanding, and I'm sure you'll be very proud of him as he continues to grow up into a fine young person.
A cheeky one at that, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Definitely. The best of them are cheeky, so it works.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much for doing the interview. For the third instalment of Latics Heroes Meet the Fundraising Stars of Wigan Athletic, I am so delighted to be joined by the Progress with Unity podcast editor, Barry Worthington, who's been doing outstanding work since the club went into administration 3 weeks ago. So, Barry, first and foremost, can you explain what the last few weeks have been like for yourself?
Thanks for having me on, Jay. It's a pleasure to talk to you. The last few weeks been a bit of a whirlwind, really. Since we went into administration, the first thought of all the Latins, because I saw what they were doing on Twitter, was how can we support the club? What's the best way to do things? And there's been some fantastic initiatives. We've been involved with the supporters club, and we've been involved with Jimmy T as well from the Mud Hutter and the Pie at Night, and we've cracked on with some stuff, and things have been unbelievable, to be honest. It's been a fantastic response from the Latics supporters, and also the wider football community have supported us as well. So it's been brilliant.
It's unbelievable, really. Through the Let's Hang On appeal crowdfunding page, the Wigan Athletic fans have raised, I think it's £170,000, and you've been a massive help in that with the Let's Hang On 10K. Can you explain a little bit more about that, please?
Yeah, I'm looking a bit ropey now because I did mine this morning, so I've done my 10K today. So all that is I've set a Facebook page up, or people can enter via Twitter as well if they just contact me on Twitter, which is at Latics Speak. So all you do is do a 10K. I prefer it if you tracked it on your Strava or your Garmin or whatever. If you've not got any of those apps, you can just take photographs. The main thing that you need to do is put £10 into the GoFundMe appeal, the Let's Hang On virtual 10K, because that's what it's all about. And once you've completed it, if you upload or contact me, either upload through the Facebook or contact me via Twitter, I'll organise for you to receive a medal. We've got some medals which have been very kindly donated by Wigan Athletic Community Trust, and there they are, the lovely little medals. It's been going well. There's a running club which runs through Inspiring Healthy Lifestyles. Obviously, with the lockdown, they've not been able to meet, but all the members of it have seem to have signed on to do this 10K. So I've been inundated with requests for medals from the runners. So the people who do it, they can either pick a medal up from my home address or send me a stamped addressed envelope. Just contact me for details. Yeah, I think it had raised the last time which was this morning, £695. So it's done all right. It's done all right.
Absolutely, and not only do people get the exercise benefits of doing the 10K, they get to support the football club, and they get a wonderful medal to go with it too, because that is a really nice kit medal. It's limited edition, and it's a real sign of piece of history that in a time where Wigan were struggling with administration, you helped the fight. And in 20 years' time, when we look back, we're not going to look back at it as like the sad times of administration. We're going to look at the happier times where the fans came together, fought it together like no club has ever done before. Yeah,
that's correct. And the other thing with it, you don't have to run it. If you're not a runner, it doesn't matter. Some families have done it together with the kids. So they've walked it, they've gone on the tracks and the push bikes, and just gone for a nice 6 mile walk, because that's what 10K is. It's 6 miles. But yeah, it's fantastic. And the other thing as well, I've been stressing out, like everybody's been stressing out about this, not sleeping. 2:30 in the morning, you're lying in bed wide awake. You're up with the lark at like 5:30 in the morning, thinking, my goodness, here we go again. You've got that knot in your stomach. But you get out there, you get in the fresh air, you do some exercise, and I'll be honest, your troubles do seem to go away. And for that time that you're doing it, it's so beneficial. Not only for the club with the donation, it's beneficial to yourselves for the the mental well-being as much as the physical. And it's just great that it's a way of people showing the support, like you say, Jay, and it's something that people will be remembered. And I just talk about Jimmy's wall for a second, if I can. I think that is an absolute brilliant idea that he's had. He's based it on the Brian Bevan wall at Warrington Wolves, are they called? I think they are. I'm not a rugby league supporter, so I'm not sure.
No, nice rugby league.
But he's picked the idea up from that and he's gone with it, and I think that's over 10 grand at the moment, so that's fantastic. But the people getting, subscribing to that and getting their names on a brick, which is going to be around the stadium for years and years to come, and it's a wonderful thing. I mean, like when we've all passed on, and our kids and grandkids will be able to go along, and it's like a memorial to us all, isn't it? It's a fantastic idea. So not only is it a brilliant fundraiser, which is what it is, but it's also a brilliant idea for the Latics supporters to be like sort of made immortal in a sense, and the names are going to be there for years and years to come.
So well cemented in history. Yeah, Jimmy from Motos has been outstanding through this, like a lot of people in the Wigan Athletic case. And I'd just like to bring something up. You mentioned Wigan Council last night. Obviously, you used to work as a firefighter, retiring in 2002 before you moved on to be a teacher. And then you retired, I believe, in 2014. And then you went on to do the Wigan 10K shortly after. How much did running help change your life? Yeah, well,
I'll be honest. I used to run a lot when I was young. I always ran. I ran everywhere. I was like Forrest Gump in a sense, and I ran everywhere. I was really, really fit. I've been fit all my life. Like I said, Jenny mentioned that I developed asthma as a firefighter. It's a condition I was born with, but I never told anybody I had asthma. I joined the fire service. As an asthmatic, I managed to get into the fire service, and for over 20 years, it was controlled. And then, unfortunately, I had 1 or 2 incidents, and I had to be medically retired through it. So I was a very fit 42-year-old, very fit 42-year-old, about 13 stone, fit as a fiddle, playing football, volleyball, running and doing everything. And then I went teaching. I also had to go to university. I had to do a degree. I had to take my teaching certificate. So I found myself sat studying 7 days a week. Weekends, like all through the day, I'd be studying. I was teaching on top of this as well. So, researching for lessons, etc. Because it's an hard job being a teacher, you need to know your stuff. So I'd gone from being really active to being really inactive, snacking a lot while I was sat down, not burning the calories off. And then obviously the weight started to come on. In 2007, I had a TIA, which is like a mini stroke, driving to work. I lost my sight and my blood pressure was 250 over 200. The paramedics were called and said you should be dead. So that was like warning number one. I went back to work within 14 weeks and I got a promotion, a load of stress. So I was even doing more studying, more sitting behind a desk and more snacking. So instead of eating that warning, I went the opposite. I developed type 2 diabetes. I had heart problems. I ended up being off work for a year because I had a heart attack. And I started to think maybe teaching isn't for me. it's you know, I wasn't the man I was twice the man I was, really, you know. And in I decided to retire in 2014 because I was 55, then I could take retirement. So I remember having a shower one Sunday morning, and I thought, I'll weigh myself. I stood on my scales and I looked down, and I hadn't weighed myself for quite a few years. And I was 23 stone, and I couldn't believe it. So from leaving the fire service in that space of time from 2002 to 2014, I put 10 stone in weight up. Now that is no wonder I was ill. So I thought, I've got to do something about this. One of my grandkids was born with a serious heart defect and spent the first year of her life in Older Air. So I thought I could do something, do a bit of fundraising for Older Air, which would drive me on and get me to lose this weight. So my idea was to do the Wigan 10K, but like I've said, I couldn't run a bath, never mind run a 10K. So I started in May. I started dieting and doing a little bit of running in May. I was really into it by July. And come September, I was down to 14.5 stone and running 12, 13K every week. So it turned my life around, it really did. The only problem was I got into it too much and I couldn't stop. And people started saying, "Are you ill? Have you been ill?" Because all my face was gaunt, and so I had to sort of manage it properly. That's one thing that I do get a little bit obsessive at times with stuff. So not that anybody had noticed this, but so I did temper it down a bit. So I run twice a week now, and I'm I feel quite fit actually. I'm 61 and I feel quite fit. I play football and I go riding a bike as well. So I thought, I've always professed that if you want to lose weight, running is a great activity. It costs you nothing at all. You can go and run in your shoes if you want. You don't need running shoes. The gym's outside your front door, and you run to your own capabilities. You don't need to, because you're not going to be like a Mo Farah. There's no, it's not about time. It's about enjoying it, putting a little bit of effort in, getting them endorphins swirling around your body, and controlling your calories, and hopefully losing a bit of weight and just feeling really good about yourself.
Absolutely amazing stuff, and it's great to hear your story. We spoke a couple of times on the podcast, and I didn't actually know the full story of Barry Worthington, but it's been great to hear. And I'd like to say on behalf of all the Wigan Athletic fans to keep up the good work, because you've been outstanding over the years through the podcast, and you've been outstanding over the last few weeks. And we're very lucky to have people like you in our ranks. That's for sure.
Oh no, thank you, Jay. I think we're lucky to have you as well. So this self-appreciation, where's it going to end up? But I think one of the good things out of all this is that whatever differences anybody may have had, and I don't think people really had any differences, but it's brought everybody together, and I think it's the collective spirit of Wigan Athletic, isn't it? That's the shining beacon at the moment, and how people are so up for the challenge. And I'm sure if them gates were open down at the DW for Fulham's game, there'd be 20,000 on. There's people who are not even football supporters saying they wish they could go and watch the game and get behind the lads. And the lads have done us proud as well, haven't they? I mean, they've been magnificent.
The lads have been unbelievable.
Yeah.
You can't ever expect how they've been. You see other clubs like the Bolton Wanderers and the Bury examples. Players were in every right to almost stop playing, throw in the towel, but if anything, it brought them stronger together into a band of brothers. And I think to break a record like they did last Tuesday against Hull, I think that just sums up everything that's happened at Wigan. It's not only brought the fans together, it's brought the squad together. And tomorrow, this is filmed on a Tuesday night. Tomorrow may be the last time we see this Wigan Athletic squad play together. But I have to say, it's been an absolute honour to watch these talented 20 players do everything for the crest and the club and the town too. Yeah,
it's been brilliant. So anyway, thank you for having me on, Jay. It's been a pleasure.
No worries. I hope to have you on again on the future in a lot more positive circumstances.
I'm sure we will be. Yeah.
No worries. All the best. See you soon, Barry.
Yeah, all the best to you. Yeah, see you soon. Thank you.